Brian Claypool, I'll throw this at you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they can't afford dash cams. You know, we wouldn't be having this conversation probably if there had been a dash cam video, if the cop had had a body camera, which is this big. No, they can't afford that. Okay, but they can afford all this? Are you kidding me? That dash cam should be the law in every police car.
Badge cam. Badge cam.
Hey, Jane, here's I'm a civil rights lawyer, by the way, and I've sued police departments throughout the state of California. And I will tell you, what I've learned over the last 7 years is we live in a different culture. There's a lot of violence in our culture, especially post 9/11, a lot of mass shootings. Police departments are not now what they were 10 or 15 years ago. They don't walk around the neighborhoods having coffee with people. They are in a defense mode, trying to protect themselves. I'm not saying this was a justified shooting, but you have to look at the circumstances of our society. I had a case involving a cop. Look, I had a case where a cop used a submachine gun. That's the society we live in right now. What we have to focus on, though, right now, what we have to focus on right now is there an adequate criminal investigation being done?
Let somebody answer what you just said, that this is justifiable.
I think it's laughable. I think it's laughable to hear Brian say, 15 years ago, you know, things are different, times are different. 15 years ago, there was more than that, there was the violence in Los Angeles. There has been police brutality in black communities for decades, This is the normal for black communities. And these people, when I saw this footage, last night, I thought, are they searching for weapons of mass destruction? Why are all this military-style violence going down there? It creates the us versus them mentality. For Brian to say that it's a new day, it's a new time, I grew up in West Philadelphia.
Exactly.
I was always policed. I was always pulled over by the police. When I saw cops in my neighborhood, I ran. I was always afraid. And this is still happening in 2014. It's the same time. We are not post-racial.
It's
the same thing.
It's not always a racial issue. It's not always racism either. I've had cases involving white people killed unarmed, Hispanics killed unarmed. It is the culture of violence that we're living. Why is this all about race all of a sudden?
This one is about
other races being killed.
Can I address what? Let me say one thing, because I want to bring in another aspect, because I'm looking at Twitter, and some people are not. Wait a second.
Why are they pointing guns? Why are they pointing guns? Why are they pointing their guns?
Because Lonnie made a good point. Because the day before, people were shooting at police helicopters above them. You need this equipment. And by the way, the Ferguson Police Department.
Guys, I got to shut it down because I can't. People complain when I get in trouble when everybody talks at once. You want to know the truth? That's it. Okay. I want to go to Areva Martin, and then we'll continue opening up.
Absolutely a smart move, but I got to say something. You know, we started this hour, and Brian Claypool, who's on this panel, made a very irresponsible statement. I want to correct him because he's entitled to his opinion, but not facts. Crime in America is down, way down. Every year, we are safer than we've ever been. We talk a lot about these issues on shows like yours, Jane, as we should, but it doesn't mean they're happening more. That's a fact. You can't debate it. And if you're upset that a few black people by the way, are looting, you know, stealing sneakers and stereos, but you're not upset about all the white people who looted our futures, our investments, and our savings, you've been duped.
I want to give Brian Claypool an opportunity to respond.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about right now? What I'm trying to tell you
is that
I've handled these cases. Let me finish. I've handled these cases for 7 years. You need to allow the investigation to take its course.
Fine.
You need to study the autopsy report. You need to study the ballistics. You need to study the medical evidence.
What are you talking about,
You need to study the distance.
Brian, hold on.
Let me finish. Let Brian finish.
Let Brian finish, then you can have your chance.
All I'm telling you is it's not always racial. You need to look at what happened. For example, is there any DNA transfer from Michael Brown onto the holster of the police officer? Let it take its course.
Brian, violent crime in America is at its lowest point in decades. You said it was up. Yes or no?
I don't recall saying that, but I know 67 police officers have been killed. 67 police officers have been killed this year in the line of duty. You need to consider that as well.
Violent crime is up. Rape, murder, and assault.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think this is a responsible way of making change in our society by looting and shooting at officers? Do you think that's responsible? Answer that.
You went on national television and said to an audience that crime is up since 9/11. You're wrong.
You can't answer that question because this is not the way to make change.
Guess what? I'm going to have to break it up. Obviously, you guys disagree, and, you know, we can bring the statistics of crime into another day.